All right, hello and welcome to the School of Consciousness. Today's session is going to be on decision congruence. So, for a lot of the people that I work with, we have got goals, right? You probably have your own goals, and there's things that you want to achieve in your life, right? And I'm sure that you've got probably affirmations or in your head, you've got an idea of like the things that you want to achieve, your goals and your dreams, and that's all well and good. However, affirmations and journaling won't necessarily get you there if you're not taking the actions and making the decisions that are in alignment with becoming the person who you need to be. Right. So affirmations and journaling are great, right? I heard an analogy the other day where it's like a lot of the most successful people that I know use affirmations, vision boards, and journaling. But also, a lot of the poorest, least successful people that I know also use affirmations and journaling and vision board. And I don't know if you guys have seen that meme on Instagram where it's like that curve, where it's like there's like that Jedi looking dude in his little cloak at the start, and then there's like a Jedi dude at the end. Or it's like there's this funny, weird looking character at the start, and then there's this big curve, and then there's like this Jedi looking dude at the end, where it's like, it could be like at the start of your journey, you do affirmations and you do your journaling and you do this, and then maybe you go up and you learn all this stuff. And then on the other end, there's this Jedi looking dude who also has like doing affirmations and journaling. I should probably get up and show you, but I don't have it on the top of my, I don't have the image kind of ready. But anyway, the point is, just because you do affirmations and journaling and vision board doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You guys might also know this. Maybe you know people who are always struggling, who are always in the victim mindset, but then on Facebook they're sharing like positivity quotes, right? But then you've also got people who are like really successful and they're kind of spouting the same message of positivity and affirmations. So what's the difference, right? The difference is there's certain people that actually take action and decide to become the person who they need to be. So they change their actions and they make different decisions, right? So you can have two people, both people doing affirmations and visioning and journaling and all this kind of stuff. One person is like making incredible progress towards their goals, and the other person just stays stuck and they never change, right? Or you come into, do some work on yourself, you do some self-development, and you kind of, doing all the right things, but you still just aren't making any progress. And I've seen that so often within the work that I've done with people, the people in our community, people that watch my stuff on YouTube, uh, even friends of mine, right? Where it's like they want to get to a certain place, or you want to get to a certain place, and you're just not making really any significant progress because although in your head you're trying to tell yourself you're going to get there, you're not taking the daily actions. You're not making the decisions on a day-to-day basis that are going to move you forward. And so this is why I believe it's so important that we have decision congruence. We need to have congruence with the decisions that we make and the person who we want to be. It's not enough just to do your affirmations, to do your journaling, you know, even to an extent, um, the meditation, right? It's not just enough to do that. In life, there's going to be other decisions that you need to make, right? You know, leaving that relationship, leaving that job, right? Starting the new career path, starting the new business, right? Protecting your energy, being better with your boundaries, saying no. Like those are the things that set people apart, right? Saying no to things that they don't want to do, starting to say yes to the things that they actually do want to do, getting outside the comfort zone, right? Not making excuses, taking full responsibility for yourself, right? Not just in your daily habits, although they help incredibly, but in other areas of life where you're dealing with people, right? Where you're dealing with your relationships, where you're dealing with your employer, you know, where you're dealing with your family. It's like making the decisions that are congruent with the person that you want to be in all areas of your life. That's what's really, really important. Okay. So you've got to kind of, you know, this is the thing. You do have to have the clarity on who you want to be, and so the visioning is helpful. The affirmations are helpful. The journaling is helpful because you've got to get clear on who you want to be. But then there's a level of like embodiment, actually embodying the person who you want to be, right? Aligning yourself with that person and then making the decisions that are congruent with the way that person would act. Okay? Because there's always different levels in life. Everyone's at different levels, right? And different levels have different devils, if you've ever heard of that saying. New levels, new devils. And so if you've ever looked at someone who you've admired and you've gone, wow, they're so successful. How are they so successful, right? I can assure you that that person is playing at a different level, right? They're doing the things that they need to do to operate at that level. And you may not have made the decision to play at that level yet. Like I think about myself, for example, I've got business goals, right? And once upon a time, I was making like I wasn't making any money when I first started my business. I wasn't making any money. And I'm just going to use this as an example, right? And then I started to make like 5,000 a month, right? And then because I was doing things differently, and then I started to make like 10,000 a month because I was doing things differently, right? Then I started to, after I started making 10,000 a month, I got to that point without running any advertising or anything like that. Then I thought, okay, I want to go bigger. I'm going to have to start running more advertising. So I started running advertising. I started paying for, paying for ads to get my message out to more people. Then I started earning 20,000 a month, right? Then I started to do everything together, run ads, do promotions, do sales calls, message people, like, and then I was like really doing it. And I got up to like 30,000 a month, right? That's like around 35,000 a month is kind of where I've been before. I've hit months when I've had those big months. And but then I've dropped back down to like 15,000 a month, right? So and ideally I want us to stay around that like 35, 40,000 a month, right? And I wonder what's stopping me from being there consistently? Well, the level of energy output and the decisions that I'm making when I'm operating at that level are much higher than what I'm operating at, than what I've operated at when I'm doing lower months. So, for example, in June, I had a low month, um, you know, and I reflect on the month and I go, okay, cool. What was different about this month? Well, June, I wasn't making the decisions to operate at that level. And I just had a kid, right? So we had our second child. I wasn't pushing super hard in business because we're expecting a child. We had a child, and then we got a newborn. So I wasn't pushing super hard in June. But this is really what it comes down to. Reality is like cause and effect, right? It's literally cause and effect. So if you're not where you want to be, you're not experiencing the effect that you want in your life. You've got to look at what you're doing. What's the cause? It's what you are doing, the decisions that you're making, how you're living. Like that's really what's going to create the effect. You are the cause, and you can use yourself as a cause to create an effect. Okay. But it all comes down to the decisions that you're making. And if you're not operating at the level that you want to be at, you're just not doing the things that you need to do. And I know I talk a lot about let's focus on being, and then we'll focus on doing, and then we'll focus on having. And I think that's an important aspect because when you do focus on the beingness, you start to get into this different energy, right? And then from the beingness, what you need to do comes naturally, right? Or at least it becomes clearer. But it's an important point to note that the doing needs done, right? The doing needs to happen. Often, you may have heard me in other classes talk about the being as the kind of feminine aspect and the doing as the masculine aspect. And all of creation needs masculine and feminine, right? We live in a society where the masculine is probably put on a pedestal, and like maybe praised a little bit too much. Where there's like you think about it, it's like Jesus, there's Buddha, there are all these males, right? All these men, and we live in this kind of patriarchy, right? And I'm not against it or anything like that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I do think we need more balance, right? So we do find the balance of the being and the doing, right? But it's important to understand that you do need to do things. right? And if you don't do things, I've experienced this in my life where I've just kind of been like, okay, cool, let's just focus on being and we'll just manifest it all. And sometimes I lean into that too much and I end up just not doing anything and then nothing happens. And then it's like, oh, well, why is nothing happening? Well, you're not even doing anything. So we need to have this balance, right? You need to be finding the balance and then making the decisions to do the things that you need to do to get to the level that you want to get to play at that level, right? So I want to give you guys some tangible things to walk away from this class, right? And a few of the things I want to do is I'm going to give you a few questions. I'm going to give you three questions, right? The first question is just a very simple question. What are your goals and dreams? So you can just write this down in your journal. What are your goals and dreams? And list them all out in all categories of life. So maybe you've got health goals, maybe you've got wealth goals, maybe you've got relationship goals. Whatever your goals are, just write them out, list them out. All right. And if you are in the Mind Launch community, we did a session on this on Monday where we talked about belief. Because one thing that holds people back from their dreams is the belief that they can even achieve those dreams or that they're even worthy of those dreams. Like we did the session on Monday, and there was two people there, and I asked them to share their dreams with me, and it was like, oh, okay, I got to be brave and share my dreams, right? And it feels almost like nerve-wracking to share the dreams, and I think that's so interesting, you know, because it's like sometimes we don't even feel confident enough to speak our dreams. Sometimes they feel like they're so far-fetched that it's like, oh, I can't even say that. You know, it's almost a bit taboo to even think about having a dream or having a goal. But I just want to give you a permission slip that you can have, whatever you want in life, so long as you're willing to do what you need to do to get it. So long as you're willing to make the decisions that you need to make to get there and to play at the level of the person who is in alignment with those goals. You know, you're not going to become an Olympic superstar at any kind of sport if you're not training. You know what I mean? If you're not doing what you need to do, you're not going to become successful in business if you are, not working, right? You're not going to find a beautiful, loving, healthy relationship if you are not loving and committed, right? It just doesn't work. So there's certain things that you need to do to get to your goals, right? But first, let's just identify what are your goals and dreams. So list them all out in categories: health, wealth, relationships. Just go for the next 60 seconds or so, write down, your biggest goals and dreams. And really let yourself dream for this little exercise, right? Let yourself actually dream and think big, right? Cool. So I'll give you a few more seconds to write down those dreams. And then the next question, when you're ready, is what's everything that I could do to get what I want? So, permission to just be unreasonable here. If you were being unreasonable about achieving your goals and you were just gonna do whatever it took, what's everything that you could do to get what you want? And this should show you what you're not currently doing that you might need to start doing to play at the level of your goals and dreams. So, question one is what are your goals and dreams? List them all out, think big. Question two is what's everything that I could do to get what I want? Right? Go deep and lean into being unreasonable about achieving your goals. Like if you were really sending it, playing big, what else could you be doing to actually achieve your goals? And really allow yourself to stretch your mind. We'll spend about 60 seconds on this. I know I'm moving fast, but that's the point. Try not to think too much. Just write it down. Whatever comes up, just write it out. And you can revisit these questions later. All right. And then final question, number three. What am I not doing that I could decide to do to achieve my goals and dreams? So what are you currently not doing that you could decide to do to achieve those goals and dreams? And this should give you a pretty clear idea of what you might need to start doing if you really want to get serious about achieving your goals and dreams. Because again, one of the things that holds people back, and I see it all the time, is just like not doing what they need to do. Right? All the woo-woo stuff aside, all the vision boards aside, all the journaling aside, all the affirmations aside, all the mindset work aside. Don't get me wrong, that stuff is important. However, sometimes you just need to get your hands dirty. Sometimes you just need to do the thing. You just need to take accountability for yourself. You need to take responsibility for yourself and just do the thing. So, what are you not doing right now that you might need to do? It's a great exercise. Cool. That's it. Yeah, just a reminder. It's so important that you find congruence with your decision making. Decision making is like such an important skill, right? You need to find the congruence with your decision making. And if you say that you want certain goals and dreams, or you say that you want to become a certain kind of person, you got to really have a reality check. Are you congruent with the decisions that you're making? Because that's what it's going to take to become the person who you want to be. It's a shift in your decisions, right? Changing your decisions, changing your behaviors, changing your actions. And, for some people, that might be real tangible, like, okay, I really need to, do this thing. For some people, it might be, okay, cool, I need to do a bit more like emotional healing, or I need to do, some more mindset work. I need to change my beliefs around what I think is possible. Well, some people might just need to get out of bed and just fucking do the thing, right? I know there's a lot of people who I talk to and who I help and who I coach, where it's like the one thing that you need to do is just do, like, get your routine sorted, right? Optimize your routines and your habits to stay in a good energy. Don't start sleeping in. Don't start eating shit food. Don't start drinking, right? Do your meditation, right? Do your exercise. Go for walks. Like, get out in the sun. Um, Eat well. Like those basic things, sometimes that's all it takes, right? I know for me, if I'm getting into a shitty energy, first thing I look at is just, okay, how are my habits? What time am I waking up? What time am I going to sleep? What am I eating? Am I training? Am I training too much? Am I training too little? Am I meditating? Am I not meditating? Like, am I watching too much TV? Those are always the basic things that I need to look at. And then if it comes to, the next level stuff, like, okay, my relationship, am I being present in my relationship? Am I paying my wife attention? Am I being present with my kids? Right? When it comes to the business, am I doing like the revenue generating tasks that I need to do as someone who is a self-employed business owner? Right? Or am I just magically waiting around expecting people to show up? When it comes to my health, am I eating the calories that I need to eat? Am I eating the macronutrients that I need to eat? Am I getting enough protein? Right? Again, am I training or am I not training? How's my sleep? Like all of these things can contribute to me personally getting where I want to get to. And I know that if I drop off on those things, I don't get where I want to get to. And the results don't happen. Okay. So yeah, this is just the lesson for you guys today. Get into congruence with the person who you want to be. Start making the decisions that you need to make and start doing the things that you need to do to become that person, right? Once you've gone through those three questions that I said today, what are your goals and dreams, right? What would you do if it was unreasonable for you to achieve those goals? Like you're just going to do whatever you could. What would you do? And then from there, you should be able to know what are you currently not doing that you need to do, right? And that should make it pretty clear what you need to do to find more congruence in your decisions and in your, you know, identity. So that's it for today's session, guys. Thank you, and I will see you in the next class.